morning, everybody. I wanted to start off this show with a very specific question. Are you ready to live in a world where America is not the top dog? Are you ready to live in a world that is ravaged by war, nuclear bombardment, nuclear eradication, whatever whatever you want to call it? Are you ready to live in that world? Because I don't think most Americans truly realize just how bad this can get. And I know what you're thinking, Kendall, what the heck are you talking about? We're not involved in any war right now. Well, actually, we are quite involved in several wars. But I want to talk specifically about this one. The Washington Post, Pentagon surging thousands of troops toward Israel amid the Gaza war. That is right. Now, for what reason would they have to be surging over 19,000 troops toward Israel, which is a war zone? Unless, of course, they mean to put those men on the ground and start a fighting. Ask yourself the question, guys. Let's think hard about this. For what other reason why they do that? Let's continue. The U.S. is projecting military strength in the Middle East as its diplomats race to prevent the crisis from erupting into a broader conflict. They are causing the broader conflict. Let's be very clear about that. The United States is going to cause a broader conflict in this region. Okay? By putting all of this military equipment, all of this military personnel in harm's way, something is going to happen. And they're going to use that as a way to say, oh, we've been attacked by Hamas. Our troops have been attacked. Our military apparatus has been attacked. And here's the reality. They don't even have to, like a rocket could fire out of Gaza towards one of these aircraft carriers, and it could hit, it doesn't even have to hit one of the ships. It could just hit somewhere near the ship, just landed into the water. And that would be enough for our government to sit there and say, oh, they tried to kill us. They tried to attack us. We got to go to war now. We drop the nukes. I mean, that's the reality of the U.S. government. That is the reality of the military-industrial complex. They don't need much of a reason to go and drop bombs on people. They don't. That's the reality. I'll remind you guys, we got ourselves into the war in Iraq over a literal lie. Yes, George Bush said that they had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They did not. That was a lie. That was a lie. And we spent 20 years blowing up people in the Middle East over that. Over a lie. So let's be very clear. The U.S. government does not need much of a reason to get involved in this. They are putting this military equipment and this military personnel near this war zone for a reason. Now, they'll sit there and they'll say, oh, we're trying to, put out the big guns over there to try to force Hamas and all these other terrorist groups and all these other Arabic countries to back down. If we just show a little bit of might, if we just swing the big stick at them. Okay. I don't think Americans truly understand the Muslim religion. Well, okay. It's not specifically the Muslim religion. It's this extremist branch of the Muslim religion, because I'm going to be honest with you, not all Muslims are like this. There's not. There's a lot of Muslims here in America. I've been friends with many Muslims here in America, so it's not like all Muslims are just, oh, I want to kill all the Jews. They're not like that, okay? Or at least from my experience with the people that I have met, they have not been like that, okay? But there is this extremist view of Islam that many Americans do not understand. And the Soviets, back when the Soviet Union was still around, they experienced this firsthand in Afghanistan. When the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, they lost that war, just like America did. And they ended up having to leave, having to get all their people and all their equipment out and having to, get the heck out of Dodge. And one of their generals, as their military was evacuating the nation of Afghanistan, their general said in an interview, he said, "How do you defeat someone who looks down the barrel of a gun and sees paradise? How do you do that? How do you defeat someone like that?" That is the reality of what our government is putting these military personnel and military equipment in. They're putting them in direct firing distance of those people. These terrorists don't fear us. They didn't fear the Soviets. They didn't fear us in Iraq. They didn't fear us in Afghanistan. They didn't fear us in Syria. And they don't fear us now. They only fear their God. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this once again. We cannot get involved in this war. Let's talk specifically about all of the military equipment and all the military personnel they are sending. Deployments disclosed by the Pentagon in recent days will surge thousands of U.S. troops toward Israel, projecting expansive military strength in the region as American diplomats race to prevent the war in Gaza from erupting into a broader conflict. The moves include the deployment of 2 U.S. aircraft carriers and their associated escort ships hauling some 15,000 personnel combined. The repositioning of an amphibious task force made up of about 4,000 Marines and sailors, and undisclosed increases to fighter squadrons already arrayed throughout the Middle East. Another 2,000 support troops have been put on alert and told they should be ready to go within days. Now, full stop. What do you think that means? Let me read that again. Another 2,000 support troops have been put on alert and told they should be ready to go within days. What do you think that means? I'm going to tell you what I think that means. I think that means those 2,000 troops should be ready to go on the ground in Israel and fight Hamas. Or, God forbid, to fight Hezbollah from the north. Or to fight any other Arabic nation that is attempting to invade Israel. That's the reality of this situation. There's no reason, in my opinion, why the United States would be sending over 19,000 troops to the Eastern Mediterranean unless it was for this very reason. Unless it was to get us involved in this war. And lo and behold, that's exactly what they're doing. From Defense News, House drafts bill to strike Iran proxies amid Israel-Hamas war. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. Are you ready to live in a world with World War III? Tell me down in the comments, man. I don't think the majority of people are ready. Now, the House is drafting this bill to strike Iran proxies. That would include Hezbollah, Hamas, terrorist organizations like this. Let me be very clear. This would be similar to I forget exactly what it's called. It's basically it's a bill that is put through the House and the Senate and is signed by the president, allowing the executive branch just access to, just allowing them to use military force in certain situations. Okay, I'm forgetting exactly what it's called. If someone wants to tell me down in the comments, that would be very helpful. However, The last time that we did this exact thing, we ended up in 20 years of war in the Middle East. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, all over the Middle East. Just fully enthralled in war over in the Middle East. That is what happened the last time that we did this right here. And now you wonder, or now you understand, why Democrats and these neoconservatives are so concerned about finding a new House Speaker. Oh, we got to get a new House Speaker right now. We got to get a new one. And we got to get the right one. We got to get the one that we want. Because if we don't, then we can't fund these wars. And that's it right there. Why are they pushing back so much against Jim Jordan being the new House Speaker? Well, because I don't think he's going to fund these wars. I think that man will let this government. I think he'll let the government shut down before he funds these wars. Same thing with politicians like Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert. Guys, I don't see how we get out of this in a good situation. I don't. I really don't. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where we go from here. The reality is that in order to stop all the bull crap, we got to vote in the right people. The problem is it's not election season. I mean, we're getting there. We're getting close, but we're just not there yet. And that's the reality. That's the reality of why elections matter so much. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, but they still need a reason. They still need a reason to get involved. They can't just say, saying, "Oh, Israel's our ally, so we're going to go get involved in war for the next 5 to 10 years." That's not really a good enough excuse. And I would agree with you, absolutely, because Israel doesn't really need our help right now. Like, Israel is one of the strongest militaries in the world. I think they can handle it. Like, I'm pretty sure they can handle lowly Hamas. Okay, I'm not super worried about Israel getting destroyed. I would be a little bit more worried about Israel if a bunch of these other countries or terrorist organizations decided to get involved, but I'm not super worried about them in a war with Hamas. So what they need, or what the United States would need in order to get involved, is a Cassius Belli. And that's this right here. Reuters. Biden lands in Israel, hugs Netanyahu and Herzog on the tarmac. Yes, that is right. President Joe Biden is in Israel as we speak. He is there right now. U.S. President Joe Biden arrived in Israel on Wednesday, beginning a visit to show solidarity and confer on the spiraling Gaza war. A Reuters correspondent on board Air Force One said there he is meeting with Netanyahu earlier today. This happened earlier today, yes. Descending from the plane amid a large security contingent, Biden embraced Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog on the tarmac. Welcome, Mr. President. God bless you for protecting the nation of Israel. Herzog's office quoted him as telling Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Cassius Belli right here. All that needs to happen is one rocket where, let's say Biden is in this building over here. Okay, this building right here. All that needs to happen is a rocket lands 50 feet to 100 feet from that building. United States will say, "Oh, they tried to kill the president." And there we go. There we go. Now we're in World War III. Now we're involved. Now we're not sending, 19,000 troops. We're sending hundreds of thousands. This is all they need. Let me give you another situation. Let's say Biden's trying to leave. Biden is trying to take off in Air Force One. A rocket comes, boom, hits the tarmac. Doesn't have to hit the plane. It just has to hit the tarmac. It just has to be close enough to be a threat. That's it. And now we're involved in another war in the Middle East that we shouldn't be in. Now, what would be the full ramifications of that other than, hundreds, thousands of U.S. troops dying in a needless war that really doesn't have anything to do with us? The U.S. government going even more broke, having to take on more debt than it already has, which would likely result in a default and the destruction of the U.S. dollar. But on a smaller scale, your gas prices are going to quadruple, most likely. Your food prices, in turn, are going to quadruple. You already can't afford to put gas in your car. You already can't afford to feed your families. You already can't afford rent. You can't afford anything, and this dingus right here wants to make it worse. Are you seeing how serious and how important elections are? Are you seeing how important it is to vote for people not based on, he says mean tweets? No, it's far more important to vote for someone based on their policies. Joe Biden has had a policy of warmongering. He's had a policy of forcing the U.S. government to take on trillions of more dollars of debt. Donald Trump, on the other hand, no new wars. No new wars. Now, I'll be right on there with you with saying that Donald Trump also did quite a bit of spending when he was in office, which I'm not okay with. But the majority of the time, he was spending that money on U.S. infrastructure, on the United States, helping out the United States citizens, helping out the people of this country. Now, I'll agree with you. There were some situations where it wasn't, but the overwhelming majority, it was. Funding our military, sure, but also funding our country, investing in our country, investing in America. Biden just asked for $100 billion more dollars for Ukraine and Israel. $100 billion more dollars. Who's got $100 billion? We don't have it. Where's the money going to come from? We're $30 trillion in debt. The United States has not had a dime to spare in decades. But we're gonna just magically appear $100 billion. Oh, that's right, because we can just print it out of thin air, which will increase inflation. Once again, causing gas prices to go up, causing prices of food to go up, causing your rent, causing your mortgage payments, causing your taxes, all of that will go up. All of it. I'll ask you once again, ladies and gentlemen of the United States, are you ready to live in a world with World War III? Are you ready for World War III? I don't think you are. I don't think any of us are. Because a world that involves World War III is a world that sucks. I mean, it really freaking sucks. I want you to take what happened in 2020 and just make it 1,000 times worse. There you go. There's World War III. I hope you guys are ready, man. Now, I'm hoping this doesn't happen. I'm hoping that this all blows over. But considering that the House is trying to draft this bill to strike Iran proxies, I don't see how. Once again, I'm not seeing an off-ramp. I'm not seeing an off-ramp. And that's very scary. That's scary, man. I don't know where we go from here. I really don't. Ultimately, guys, we need to be contacting our representatives. We need to be contacting people who are in positions of power and saying, look, we don't want to be involved in this. We don't. We don't want to be involved in these wars. And then when it comes time to vote, you need to be voting for the right person that has consistently kept us out of wars and has consistently tried to pursue peace over war, which, of course, is Donald Trump. And then, of course, in the meantime, while you're doing your stuff, out in the streets, protesting, contacting your reps, voting for the right person, you need to pray. You need to pray. Ladies and gentlemen, America has lost its Christian values. Okay? It really has. And I would urge you, I'm not here to convince you that God is real. That's not what I'm doing. Okay? That is for you. That is between you and God. Of course, I myself am a Christian, but I'm not here to convince you of something. Okay? I would just urge you and push you. Seek God. Okay? Pray. Pray for America. Pray for your families. Pray for yourself. And I would push you. I would urge you. Try to reach out to him. See what happens. He may just talk back. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'll have another video coming for you guys on Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there, protect your families, and God bless.